Welcome to the Class of the Little Sass podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Millspaw, best-selling author and award-winning motivational speaker with over 20 years in the personal development industry. I believe that the more you know, the more you grow. With each podcast episode, I will educate and empower you, girlfriend to girlfriend style, on how to create a happy life, from motherhood guidance, career and business advice, to feeling confident in your relationships and everything in between. This is Real Talk Radio. Let's jump right into today's episode. What's up, my favorite people? If you're listening to this episode, you count as somebody that's my favorite. Okay, so today we're going to talk about all kinds of things. We're going to talk about narcissism and why empaths always seem to attract narcissists, permission to be single, attachment styles, all the goods. I'm going to be raw and authentic and share my own garbage with y'all because it isn't, I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. I've got a long ways to go. I've learned so much about myself. So I hope you take away a lot from this episode in your personal relationships. And this isn't just romantic relationships. This is all the things. Coworkers, friends, family, neighbors, whatever, community workers, your church members, whatever that looks like. And it will help you understand yourself so well. And I'm so grateful for all the learning lessons along the way. Just for those that are new listeners that don't know my history, I have been divorced for the last 15 years. I say that with a question mark on the end as I do the math in my head. I was with my daughter's father for 19 years altogether. Married 12 of those 19 years. We met when I was 15. Divorced at 34. And you can do the math for the rest. I have a birthday coming up next week, so I'm not even going to tell you how old I am, okay? We're going to keep that to ourselves because it's just a number. But realistically, I feel like I have a pretty good sense of what it's like to be married. Again, 12 years marriage with one person for 19 years, divorced for 15. Almost in the middle there of being single and married. I can kind of tell you what both sides of the fence looks like with certainty. Of course, I'm a very different person than I was in my marriage. Obviously, the single version of Carrie is different than the married version of Carrie. The married version of Carrie was young. She got married at 22, and married her high school sweetheart. Didn't have a lot of experience in the dating world. Didn't know any different, to be honest. So fast forward to the past 15 years of dating, getting out there, learning, healing. That's a big one with a capital H, healing. Learning these pieces of myself. I was a different version of Carrie in all those relationships as well. I didn't even learn about attachment styles until 2 years ago, maybe 3, 2019, 2020. I think it was 2020, to be honest, that I just got wind of it. You got to love YouTube and all the self-help you can find out there about breakups and how to get over them and how to heal your heart. Move on from your ex, all the things. And I remember them dropping some words about attachments then. And I'm like, wait, go back to the attachment stuff. I think that might be the problem. I knew it was something important in the back of my mind, but I didn't know why. And I didn't shelf it properly. I didn't go back to it and research it later. It was just one of those little flags that you're like, wait a minute. I think I've dated that person you just described. So going around in this circle in the last couple of years, I've noticed my patterns and I take full ownership that I'm the common denominator to all my failed relationships. And I can give an excuse out there to every single one of them. Well, he was just the non-committal type, or this person doesn't know how to be in a relationship, and constantly deflect on the partners I had in the past. But takes two, right, guys? Takes two. And I'm that other two. And I take full ownership for maybe picking the people that seem non-committal because I'm non-committal. There's so much depth to that. And I want to just pause Whether you are happily single or not, or you're happily married, you're going to get just as much out of this episode as anyone else. Attachment styles are so important. It's like learning someone's personality assessment, or you think you have all the cards when you learn their horoscope, maybe, or their sign. If you're into zodiac signs, I personally don't give a lot of credit to that. There's so much so much variance to how you were born, where you were born, how you were raised, who you are, how you're wired. It has nothing to do with the stars at the time. So put credit where credit is due. A lot of it has to do with your upbringing. What were your caregivers like? I use the term caregiver because that's what the professionals say. It's a good word for mom, dad, older siblings, grandparents, a cousin, a guardian, foster parents, adopted parents. There's all kinds out there. And there's so many different ways that we are brought up, and all of them are unique and different. And I don't want to take away from that. But I want you to just kind of reflect here. If you're like me, I feel the stigma that my friends are always trying to set me up with someone. They don't want me to be single. In fact, if I go out on happy hour with friends, they want to know who are you seeing now, Carrie? What's going on in your dating life? As if I'm interesting, like I am not your latest reality TV show. There's not a lot to share. And I'm very private too. And I've learned to be even more private than I've ever been before, because I don't want that outside influence energy to inflict on mine. This is my journey. If I choose to share it, I choose to share it. If I choose to keep it within, God bless it. It's all good. It's all good. It's my business. So I put myself out there a lot, as you can see. I don't think everything needs to always be out there. So if that's your situation, let me kind of give you some clues in. It seems like the grass is always greener kind of mindset. If you're married, you think everyone else should be married, or maybe you want to be single deep down, like your single friends, because you're miserable and you're really, really jealous of that one single friend of yours. She gets to go do whatever she wants. And here I am making, dinner for my husband, or whatever that looks like. If you're somewhat resentful, didn't have a single life, maybe you're resentful of your friend, and that friend could be inflicting their married views on you because they want you to come over to the other side. Could go both ways. Again, if you're single and you think that you need to be married because all my friends are married and they seem so happy and everything seems so together and they've got all the perks of marriage, could be double income. Someone's got their back. They've got that emergency contact in their phone. That's a big deal, right? Someone to take me to the doctor's office, drive me home from surgery, all the things and the support. And did I mention the extra income? A built-in roommate that's going to pay half the bills. Oh, I miss that part of being married. Oh, that's probably the only thing. I'm just keeping it real, y'all. Keeping it real. So take a look at whoever's pushing you to get married, divorced, single, whatever those statuses quotes are. Take it with a grain of salt. Who is the giver in this conversation? Who is projecting their own insecurities on you? Maybe your married girlfriend wants you to be married too, because then they can double date. It feels more comfortable to go out as a couple. How dare you show up single? And people will kind of like this loose live wire. I would, back before my daughter was, she was just a baby, maybe right before that, I would go to church by myself because my ex-husband at the time wasn't a believer, had no interest in church. I wanted to raise my baby girl in church. So here I come, baby buggy and all, little baby Shyla, go to the nursery. Mommy gets to connect with more moms. I was very lonely. I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years, and I just wanted to meet more moms. I was involved in the Mothers of Preschooler group, otherwise known as MOPS at church. I started to connect. I got involved, in Sunday school and other children programs and singing and all the fun stuff that church offers. I was missing that community of moms. What I didn't know was that those that are married and happily married, I shouldn't say happily, but it kind of feels that way. To me, on the outside looking in, if your husband went with you to church with his arm around you and wanted to be there as much as you, I saw that as a happy marriage because I didn't have that. My ex-husband thought I was crazy for loving something I couldn't see. Those were his exact words. So I didn't have that supportive husband. I braved it. I went by myself. But this very backwards, and I say this with capital B, Baptist church that I went to, saw me as a loose cannon or maybe a threat because I looked and appeared single, coming to these events with other married couples. Of course they're adults, Carrie. Haha. So I'm this girl, even though I've got a wedding ring on. They've met my husband. He would occasionally come once in a blue moon. But I would go to talk to whomever, God forbid it be a man, and the wife would come right up right next to their husband and put their arm around him and like claim her man as if I was on the prowl and not really caring much about, her husband. And I'll just be nice and say it as much as that and leave it there. But I felt that pressure, like, well, I guess I need to have my husband by my side in order to be safe, or appear not to be on the prowl looking for a side thing. I don't know. I'm not looking for an affair, guys. I'm just over here trying to talk to other like-minded Christians, which you think would be fine, but they were very sensitive to that and I felt it. So maybe that's where the stigma is coming from. If you feel the need to push back because your family inner circle is saying, how come you're not married yet? Is something wrong with you? You can feel it, even if they don't say it. They'll look on their face like, you must be, something's just wrong with you. You're defective. And you know what? They're right. They are 100% correct. And I'll go deeper in that. I'm not just pointing fingers at myself. I'm pointing fingers at lots and lots of people today, because we all need help with healing and just working through life, and that personal development is so important. God did not create us to be single. It's true. I mean, even Adam, gosh, how long did Adam get to hang out in the garden by himself before Eve showed up? Minutes? I mean, like a day maybe? See, man was created on day 6, I think. Gosh, I should have came with my little statistics in the Bible here, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the day of man was 6. I don't know why that sticks out in my mind. I think it is. That means that Eve was created pretty quickly after. Maybe he couldn't find something in the garden and God's like, you need an Eve. She'll know where it's at. Honey, have you seen my latest fruit basket? I don't know. Where did we put the elephants? I digress. But human 2.0 showed up in the form of Eve very shortly after Adam was created. God's like, a pair would be better. Chickens have the rooster, and I'm seeing pairs here, little ducks going by. Something's missing. Adam's all by himself. We need to create, a partner by his side. And we really, truly are. I feel like we learn so much about ourselves when we're in a partnership. I know I do. Even if it's uncomfortable, it's a great learning process. So I'll go a little deeper into the brokenness of many of us. And there's no judgment. There's nothing wrong. It's just awareness of what needs to be healed. That's it. That's what personal development is. It's not judgment. It's not shaming. It's awareness, clarity. I need to work on this. I get to work on this part of myself. Not I need to, or I should do this, or I'm so messed up. Nobody would want me. No, it doesn't get to look that way, my friends. You get to be happy and healthy. And even after you listen to this episode and you're still like, nope, Carrie, want to be single forever. I'm just going to tour the countryside. I've always wanted to travel, backpack it through Europe somewhere and unplug, and a wife or a husband just going to wear me down and settle me down and so on. And if that's your viewpoint of a relationship, you're probably looking at the wrong relationships for examples, or you're looking at the wrong partners that don't match your needs and so on. So let's go a little bit into those attachment styles. And then I want to go even deeper why empaths seem to attract narcissists. We're going to talk about that today too. Yay. So attachment styles, again, super grateful that it was brought into my awareness in 2020. And then in 2021, I was dating a guy that brought it up again. And I'm like, yes, I've been wanting to research this. So I went online and found this great book that I highly recommend, and the link is in the show notes, called Attached: The New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love. Keyword keep. If you're like me, I can attract it all, but can I keep it? It's like, or maybe you can't find it. And when you do find it, you're better at keeping it. I don't know what your situation is. It's a great book. It's red and white if you're looking for the cover. It's got a little magnet heart shape on the cover. It's by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller are the two authors. Looks like they co-authored this book together. One's a medical doctor. Beautiful book. Learned so much. Super easy to read. Highly recommend it. Y'all go get it. If you're more of a YouTube person, I need to hear it. There's a ton of podcasts about it. There's a ton of YouTube videos about attachment styles. Fill yourself up, just like I did. I feel like I have a degree in it now because that's just how I roll. I like to learn all about it. So there's 4 types of attachments. 1, secure. Duh, natural, of course. The secure person, that confident person. And it all really goes back to who raised you. Again, who is your caregiver? Were they emotionally available for you? Were they there to, kind of boost you, give you words of affirmation, confidence, educate, time, quality time, all the things that a person needs as they're, growing into a young adult. All children need that. So it's basically, this isn't a slam on your caregiver at all, because honestly, me looking at my attachment styles, because I have more than one, I felt like, am I saying my parents are bad? I don't think they were, but it is still reflective. And a lot of your attachment style comes from also trauma that's shown up in your adult life. A lot of mine has evolved due to my crappy dating life. And I'm saying it like it is, y'all. It's been pretty nasty. That could be an episode all by itself, or a show. It could be a full-on show with multiple episodes. So a lot of my attachment style personally, yes, evolved from the relationships I was in, and you tend to grow and adjust to your environment as well. So 1 attachment style, the secure. You had secure caregivers. They were there for you. These people are very confident, and they make up about 50% of the population. So it's not a pipe dream, y'all. You can be this. And it's not a rare thing. You can be this. There's a lot of confident people out there that make great partners. The second one is the anxious attachment style, or sometimes they call it a preoccupied anxious attachment style. I'm not sure what the preoccupied stands for, but probably because their brain never stops. They're overthinkers. They are codependent. They need to be reassured often in relationships. Are you this person? I've been this person. I don't even know how that guy could handle me for the 4 years that we were dating. I've been that anxious person, super clingy, super just always looking for the other shoe to drop. Things felt like they might be too good to be true. I would create drama if there wasn't any. I just needed to constantly know if it was okay. I needed to be reassured. I needed the text to come back right away. Right away. Not an hour, not 2 hours. I need to hear from you right now. I was that girl. I'm complete opposite now, but I was that girl 10 years ago in a relationship. The other 2 are a dismissive avoidant, which is exactly like it sounds. Going to avoid all the drama and all the anxious people and all the codependent people, and I'm going to go live in a cabin in the mountains and never talk to another living soul as long as I'm alive. Dismissive avoidant. I'll tell you what I am at the end. Dismissive avoidants have been hurt. Just like an anxious attachment, their fear is abandonment. Dismissive avoidant people are also have fear of abandonment, but they've learned to cope with the abandonment. Where an anxious person just relies on that other person to feed them all their needs. Where dismissive avoidant has learned to feed their needs all by themselves. I used to feel so lonely, even in a relationship, especially with a very non-committal partner. I would feel super lonely. It wasn't until I really encouraged my growth in my Christian walk and my relationship with Christ that I truly learned how to never, ever, ever feel alone, because God is always there. He's my favorite. Jesus is my first love. Never, ever felt alone. And yes, I strayed in my Christian walk and I had to recircle back again, learning that that was the strongest, most consistent, unconditional love I could ever find. And that was my life force, and still is to this day, is Jesus. He's my rock. People will always fail you, but he never leaves. We leave him, but he never leaves. So if you're lonely in relationships and you're having that challenge with anxiety, like I did, I encourage you to strengthen that walk with Jesus. It will change everything, everything. So there's that anxious avoidant. There's a secure relationship, a dismissive avoidant, the anxious attached style. And fourth is fearful avoidant, or called disorganized at times. Disorganized attachment, which means they're kind of a combination of both. Sometimes they're anxious, sometimes they're dismissive and avoidant. Sometimes they want you, sometimes they want to run away from you. I've been in relationships with those types. It's very confusing. I don't know if I'm coming or going. What's going on? I thought one minute you wanted me all the time. Now you don't even want to pick up the phone. Hello, I'm delivering what you wanted. Where are you? And that again is all goes back to hurt, pain, trauma in your childhood, maybe past relationships. It's all just wounding that needs to be healed, and it gets to be healed. It's easy to do. Just do the work. You don't need to be in pain anymore. It's like walking around with your leg cut off. Hello, you can stop the bleeding at any time. You don't have to sit there and bleed. That's what it is with emotional trauma. You don't have to sit there wounded. There's a lot of solutions out there, a lot of help. A lot of help. So in the show notes, I have put a little quiz for you to find your attachment style. In the body of the show notes, there's a little link there from Mind Body Green, which is one of my favorite little blogs. And it gives you instant results. The only downside is, and I took it for fun, just to check it out, because I've taken it before. You can't go back. So if you give them a wrong answer, like, oh no, I meant to hit true, not false, you can't go back. That's the only downside, but it does give you instant results. No email required. Who doesn't love that? So pop in there, find out what your attachment style quiz. I do have another disclaimer as well. We generally are not just one type. Similar to like the love languages, we generally have like a primary and a secondary. So when I've taken other styles, I have been 50% secure, 50% dismissive avoidant. Now, I didn't evolve or become that overnight, and I was never that way. I mean, I've been obviously a different type of partner depending on who I'm partnered up with. So the long-term relationship I had where I was super anxious, he was super dismissive, which increased the anxiety. You see the pattern here. Someone wants to run away and the other one wants to run to the person. One wants their freedom. One wants to be attached. It's not always the best mix unless you have some healthy people in the relationship that are willing to take a look at it and go, okay, here's my trigger points. Here's where I need to work on myself. Here's your trigger points. Here's where you need to work on yourself. How can we meet in the middle and be more secure? And in all honesty, the more secure your partner is, the more secure you become too. It's one of those things that's actually kind of contagious. I hate to say it, but they encourage you to keep growing, to be a more secure, confident partner, looking at the wounding, looking at the triggers, looking at where you generally act out like a 3-year-old. And I'm going to use that as the truth, because that's what we're doing. That's a wounded child inside of you that's acting out because it worked before. In the past, maybe your caregiver finally gave you the attention you needed because you threw a temper tantrum, or slammed the door, or threw something, or broke something, or gave them the silent treatment, whatever that looks like, ran away because it worked in the past to mom, dad, whoever your caregiver was. So now you see yourself doing those patterns in relationships. I highly encourage you to read the book. It really gives real life situations and how to adapt. I've read it once and I think I read it in like 2 days. 3 days tops. So good. So yummy, guys. So yummy. That awareness is key. Again, like I said, back to me for a sec. Anxious avoidant. I'm sorry, I keep creating my own terms over here. Well, I guess there is that term. I am not a fearful avoidant. I am 50% secure, 50% dismissive avoidant. But I was 100% anxious. So how did that work? Okay, so let's take a look here. Again, using myself as an example so you can kind of see yourself in the picture. I believe it has a lot to do with discovering myself as an empath, because that anxious Carrie version of myself in that relationship didn't know she was one. I was feeding off of his need to run away all the time, which made me more anxious, very insecure, didn't understand myself yet. Once I learned who I was as an empath, I became extremely avoidant to the point where I wanted to cut myself off from everyone because I was trying to protect my own energy. It started to become survival. I started to see myself in situations where I was scattered and felt very ungrounded. I felt like I was having out-of-body experiences. Not so much like, not as graphics as that sounds, but I wasn't in touch with who I was. I felt like I was floating above my body all the time because I was around so much crazy energy that I didn't know who I was anymore. I felt detached from myself. And, I just saw the best meme on Facebook too regarding that. It was like, never connect with someone who's afraid to connect with themselves. Like never truly commit to that person. If they're so avoidant to connecting to themselves and figuring out who they are, they're never going to make a great partner. Why would you want to, right? They've got to learn who they are first. Self-awareness number 1. And then you can try to understand other people. But in those relationships, and since then, in the last decade, I've been clearly dismissive and avoidant, running away when things look weird, running away from drama if it ever gets too scary and too close, or that level of intimacy that feels uncomfortable. I know I have a natural pattern to run away, not because I'm afraid of intimacy, but I'm afraid of losing me. I fought so hard to find Carrie again after my divorce. And if you're that type too, that you've been in a relationship where you got so caught up in the other person's dreams, goals, lifestyle, hobbies, that you've had to take a step back and go, wait, I don't even like golf. How come I'm golfing every weekend? I hate golf. Totally just putting that out there because I'm a hell of a golfer. I love me some golf, okay? But maybe you're like, I don't even like camping. That was me. I don't want to camp. I don't want to pee outside. Why am I camping all the time? That was because the guy I was with was a camper. That was what we did every weekend because he's cheap and he wants to go sleep in a tent under the stars and a free camping, area, not even pay for the cheap little camping spots. I found myself doing things I was like, wait, I don't even like doing that. I don't get a good night's sleep. I'm uncomfortable. You have to pack so much. As a girl, I'm like trying to find some clean water just to take out my contact lenses over here. Hello, I'm trying to wash my face. This sucks. No running water, no nothing. There's a time and place for it, and I love nature, and I would always leave feeling full after those weekends away, but they exhausted me. I was like, can we just do a bed and breakfast this time around? I'll pay for it. And we did do that too. Can I just get pampered? Someone cook for me? I don't want to cook over a campfire. So I think that's when I started to pull way into the dismissive avoidant realm. And I like to see it as I overcompensated maybe a little bit. I swung the pendulum from anxious codependent because I had been in a relationship from age 15 to 34, 19 years. I didn't even know how to be alone, to I'm always lonely because I don't understand myself. I don't know how to be by myself, to finding a relationship being super, super anxious, coming out of that relationship and learning how to nurture myself without a person to do it for, or depending on outside forces to make me feel whole. I didn't need the other person. I learned that people let you down. And as sad as that sounds, people let you down and they leave you to fend for yourself, Dismissive avoidant people, and I have a lot of friends this way, and in all honesty, the percentage of women that are anxious is the highest, and men tend to be dismissive avoidants. So it's very common. You'll see articles, if you look this up, that when they talk about the anxious style of attachment, it's generally in the female voice. Dismissive avoidants tend to be male. You'll always hear relationship coaches telling women, stop texting him every 5 minutes. Give him a minute to breathe. Be your own person. Have a life before you become a wife. All the terms. And, the other stuff about, being with a guy and trying to pull him out of his shell and get him to be vulnerable with you. I am the guy in the relationship, I guess, in that aspect. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I dated so many dismissive avoidants, I became one. And there's some truth to that. I'm an empath. I'm a sponge. Maybe I soaked up their coping mechanisms and made them my own. So take a look at that. I'm learning as I navigate these last couple of years. I've dedicated 100% to my dating life, learning who I am, getting clear on that, being so selective with who I give time to, not doing the dating rampage that they a lot recommend. They want you to quantum date and date multiple people until one commits and settles down with you or wants to be exclusive. That's generally what you'll hear out there. I personally don't. That sounds like chaos to me and sounds draining as an empath. I do not want to give my attention to 15 guys and date them all at the same time. And that's just dating, girls, not sleeping with them. Okay? Okay. So I have learned to be more vulnerable and learn to share more, slowly let people in, and realize that I can still set healthy boundaries. No one's going to take over all the hard work I've done on myself if I don't let them, which leads me into dating narcissists. If you're an empath like me, we are a target. They love us. And the reason why is because we're a sponge. We're an easy audience. We're going to help them. They always play the victim, and we're going to help them save themselves, right? Or save them from themselves. Maybe. I don't know how that works, but we are a target. 100%. We care. We love hard. We feel everything. We want to help people. It's in our DNA. We can't help it. Oh, I lied. We can help it. Yes, we can. You can spot them from a mile away. I've dated one, 2017, I believe it was, looking back, for about 5 months, and didn't know I was dating one until after the fact. Until I connected the dots, read up on, read some articles. I think something came across my social media feed that said, top 10 signs you're dating a narcissist. And he checked every single box, all 10 boxes. I felt so stupid. I felt dumb. I was like, what am I doing? What the heck, Carrie? Carrie. You saw red flag number 1 before you even met this person. And then you just kept going. What the hell? Were you that desperate? I had lots of shaming talks with myself, which isn't healthy. But I didn't want to do it again. So I wanted to be careful going forward, looking for those red flags. So if you're an empath and you're dating a narcissist, or you think you are, chances are, if you even think it, you probably are. Do you feel like they're controlling all of your time? Usually it starts with a lot of love bombing in the beginning. A lot of, love bombing. That's the perfect word for it. A lot of charm in the front end of the relationship. A lot of doting and kind words and gifts and calls and telling you how wonderful you are. And then they tend to let off the gas on that love bombing and go sideways a little bit. By then you're hooked. And then they create this more manipulative type of stage where you don't know if you're coming or going. You're lost, you're confused. I felt that way in that particular relationship. I felt consumed by his needs all the time. I was tired all the time, drained. I was crabby. I was scared. I was scared of him. He would yell at me if I had cut him off in conversation. if I interrupted him ever, which keep in mind, narcissists like the floor and they want to talk the entire time. Like if you're going out to eat and you're sitting at that table for an hour, they're going to want the conversation and all the attention for the entire hour. Don't you dare stray the conversation back to you. That's a big red flag that you're involved with a narcissist. He was very crabby. They act out a lot. They act very immature at times. He would yell at the waitress and waiter all the time, constantly cause a scene in public, gloat if he got any attention, or if anyone said, "You're so smart. I can't believe you know that." Oh my gosh. I've never seen anyone blow up massively, take all the energy in the room in 2 seconds flat with one compliment. And it was hard to back away from that. And the only advice I can give you is that I had to make it his idea to end the relationship. And I didn't know any different. Again, I didn't even know I was dating one until after it was over. But that was my emotional maturity, my EQ kicking in, my just my emotional intelligence saying, "Carrie, you're gonna have to back away slowly from this relationship. And it needs to be their idea. Otherwise, they'll just continue to control you." We had one small little breakup in there, and he just turned it into poor me syndrome, blowing up my phone, lots of regurgitating his feelings back and forth, where again, I felt like I needed to be a counselor in the moment because they need all the attention and they need saving. Now, keep in mind, a narcissist does not have any emotional intelligence. They're almost completely devoid of that. They just need praise. They're not a sociopath. Look it all up, and I'm not, by all means, a social worker or a licensed therapist in any way, shape, or form. I don't have all the knowledge on it. There's a lot out there that's within your fingertips to grab. And again, if you need an exit strategy, I have attached that in the show notes, a game plan to escape a relationship with a narcissist, or how to protect yourself altogether from even being attracted to one, or being kind of, again, the love bombing stage of getting involved with one. It's an empath. We're good energy, guys. If you're if you are one, no matter what type you are, people love us. They're attracted to us. We have an inner light. I don't know how to explain it. I know my inner light comes from Christ. It's Jesus. People are attracted to me, want to stop and talk to me. I don't take that as a compliment, as anything to do with me. 100%, it's the Jesus energy they want. When people are attracted to me, even small children, animals, that light is Jesus that they're looking for. I don't take credit. I give a calming sense of you're okay, you're loved, it's unconditional. It's Holy Spirit working through me. I'm just the conduit of the brightest light you'll ever find. So all walks of life are going to be attracted to that, especially someone that's like someone that is a narcissist. And I think that the word is just dropped too much. Make sure you're truly sure before you throw that label on someone. Please do your research, because that actually needs to be diagnosed by an actual therapist or someone in that industry. I think that the word, just had to put that disclaimer in there, the word is definitely overused, 100%. Make sure they're diagnosed clinically, but they're wounded too, and they will never get help until they see that they need help. I hate to say that they're a lost cause, but look at it from my point of view, or anyone's point of view. The only people that can change are those that actually admit and take ownership for their garbage they've created in their life, their pain, their hurt, whatever that is. They have to own it first, look at it, and then want to change. Narcissists don't think anything's wrong with them at all, ever. They're perfect. Why can't you see that? I mean, come on. So how can you get a narcissist to even look in the mirror long enough to admit their stuff? Good luck with that. That's all I can say. I'll let the therapist handle those people. That's not my job. And it's not yours either, empath. It's not yours either. It's not your job to fix everybody. Your job is just to protect you, own your light, move forward, be amazing, be beautiful. If you're a Jesus girl like me, shine Jesus on people. That's all you can do. Love them up, then walk away. Protect yourself. Keep healthy boundaries. And more importantly than anything, keep learning your attachment style. Figure out who you are in your relationship. Even if you're single or married, it's important to know so you can understand and adjust to who you're attracting, how you can be more secure, more confident in your relationship. And I'll give you a full-on example. Because talk is cheap, right? I have grown to be more secure and less dismissive by watching myself, almost like, again, like that out of body experience. Pull yourself out of the situation, look at it without emotion. For example, if I'm dating someone and they're wanting to talk about something and I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about this right now. I've got so many other things to do. I've got this book I need to read, or this energy, this workout I need to do. I don't want to talk about it. Like, just say someone's coming to me with they want to go deep in a conversation and all Carrie wants to do is run away. I'm happy, Carrie. Leave me alone. That's drama. I love fun. I love happy. I love low maintenance people. I love people that don't pull at me. I love people that can take care of themselves. I love people that aren't going to rely on me, because guess what? That pulls at the freedom aspect I need to have in my life. I've learned to grow on my own. I've learned to breathe oxygen all by myself. Don't rock my boat. Don't put leaks in it. Don't put holes in my canoe. I'm learning how to float by myself. Don't capsize me. That's what a dismissive avoidant thinks like. They're scared that you're going to come tip over their canoe, that they work so hard to keep afloat. So I know this about myself going into a relationship. I know that if that person wants to come rock the boat a little bit, that it's okay. I've done such a good job. My boat doesn't have any holes in it. It's okay, Carrie, to lean in. Maybe even rescue them a little bit. Let them into your boat for a minute. A minute, maybe 10. And I've learned to go, well, this is where I would normally just disappear and walk away or step away or run away, because I'm really good at that. Run away from conflict, run away from drama, run away from anything that seems hard or difficult or challenging. And this is just in relationships, because I sure love a good challenge and everything else. I'm very competitive. I like to challenge myself. I'm very competitive with me, not others. I like to challenge myself and see what I'm capable of, what new goal I can get to, what kind of productivity I can create in a day. And before I ramble on any much longer, I'm going to wrap this up. So when I look at myself and my patterns, that little inner child wants to act out. She wants to go, screw you, bye. Figure it out on your own. Have a nice life. Not my circus, not my monkeys. That's literally what goes through my head. Bye. Sucks to be you. Bye. Not my problem. Stop trying to rock my boat. Stop trying to capsize me. I'm doing my best over here to stay afloat. Instead, I'm like, okay, where can I respond from a secure point that's not someone afraid that their freedom's going to get taken from them, or that they're going to capsize and go under with the person? And then I respond that way. What would a secure person say in this moment? How would a secure person react in this moment? If you're an anxious person, maybe your way is to act out by blowing up that person's phone or calling them constantly or trying to get all the attention back on you, because you need to be reassured in the moment that you're still important, even though your partner just called you an hour ago or texted you back a couple hours ago, but you need that attention back on you, because in those 2 hours, all these thoughts went through your head. They're probably with somebody else. I know they're back with their ex. I know they probably forgot about me already. I mean, I can relate. I've been that girl. I need to get the attention back on me. They didn't say whether we're going to see each other this weekend. And I really, really, really need to know if we have plans this weekend, because I know I will feel better knowing I'm going to see them this weekend. And the dismissive avoidant is going, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, what's the big deal? Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll make plans. I'm in the moment. I'm experiencing my freedom over here. Stop pulling at me. And you can see the back and forth, back and forth. And I highly encourage you to look up. I'm not going to make any references to particular schools, but there's so many of them on YouTube. Tons of free videos out there on how to learn not to be dismissive avoidant, how not and be more secure, how not to be fearful avoidant, disorganized, how not to be anxious and have that anxiety in relationships. Because what happens is in our relationship style or attachment style, if it's not secure, you're going to push away your other partner at some point. It's going to end, which is why I have a lot of short-term relationships and why I've dated a lot of dismissive avoidants, because I got them. I understood them. But guess what? They're going to continue to be dismissive avoidants forever and never, ever really truly commit or go to the depth of a relationship that I'm looking for. Because deep down, Carrie wants depth to the relationship. She's a deep girl. The shallow end's no fun. I want to go in the deep end sometimes. And I'm never going to find that with a man that's consistently dismissive as well and afraid to even look at his own attachment style or who he is as a person and go deep with me unless they're willing to do the work. And I have to also be okay with going deep myself. I hope this has helped you. Please, if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, please look at the game plan link in the notes. I highly recommend it. I want you out of it, sister. Okay? You will feel like you can't do anything right in that relationship over and over and over again. It's so defeating. You deserve healthy love. Okay? Everybody does, which is why this episode is so important to me. Everyone deserves to be loved and in love. Big hugs, big love. Go out and love yourself first and find someone to love you back. Bye, guys. Hi there, friend. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor and double check that you're subscribed or following. And if you've got a quick 30 seconds, it would mean the world to me if you could leave me a 5-star review and share what you specifically liked about this episode.